You're listening to the sounds of Chat with DaCoach, brought to you in part by SIBN Television and Radio Networks. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, SoundCloud, and anywhere SIBN Television and Radio is found.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for the Coach's Corner radio show. My name is Marcus Salette, a.k.a. The Coach. The Coach's Corner show is raw and it is rare. But listen, I want to ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's cheering you on to the finish line of life? Well, I hope that we could have that honor as we daily bring to the microphone the wisdoms of the matter. Trust me, we have our personal and professional issues, but we want to earn the right to speak into your life. This is the Coach's Corner. Welcome aboard. And today we want to talk more about associated thinking and to perhaps move you toward not only your goals and the fulfillment thereof, but to also enhance you on the way as you enjoy the journey of life. So I want to ask you one more question as you also consider following us on Twitter. I want to ask you, do you know how you're thinking? This is DCC. Well, once again, thank you for joining us right here on our new developed, designed show, and designed and intended to connect with those of you who are visual, and for those of you that are joining us on our audio platforms for SIBN Television and Radio, including iTunes. Thank you so very much. Always search the podcast section right there on iTunes for SIBN Television and Radio. Let's get right to work. We're talking about associated thought processes, if you will. And of course, we want to keep you engaged, and we're kind of free flowing in this particular series because we want to get you moving. We want to get you fluid. So the thoughts that we have so often, more than not, using my own life as an example, are uniquely and sometimes unfairly connected to the past. It is not until we learn the lessons of failure that failure is minimized, not eliminated, but minimized. It's only when we learn the lessons from our failures that failures, particularly in that area, can be minimized. If we do not learn the lessons from our failures, then sadly we cross those, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We bring those non-lesson journeys over into our now, and as we'll talk about another time, contaminate our future. So it's important to be able to look at how we think. Now, I found something interesting that I wanted to bring to the microphone on today that will help break the cycle, perhaps break the cycle of non-associated thinking. In other words, as I told you about the story where for many years I wouldn't eat yogurt because when I was a child I smelt yogurt and it smelt like sour milk. 30 years later, someone dear to me, a friend, someone I respected, someone that had my whole heart or my future in his or her mind, said to me, well, have you tried stirring up your yogurt? Did you mix it up? And too often, more than not, our thoughts are straight line, and we ourselves, sometimes subconsciously and consciously, you're going to do enough work subconsciously, but you need to make a conscious effort to find out, what is the traffic pattern looking like in your thought processes, so that you'll be able to manage that type of traffic. I mean, you're having accidents over here on 19 in the 1980s lane, and then you that collides with the 1990s lane. And for those of you that are born in 2000s and on and on and on, I mean, you got to monitor your thought traffic. The interesting thing that I wanted to bring to the microphone today is the fact that rest can help change your thought patterns. I'll tell you why. first of all, there's more accomplished in rest than it is work. For those that are believers out there or spiritually inclined, you may understand that now the just walk by faith. And so faith without works is dead. But we also know that faith is for something unseen. And my point to you is that the final step of faith, and there's a lot of steps, ingredients, I should say, you can say steps, that are included when you're believing for the impossible to touch the invisible. I need some help. So I want to encourage you today, on today's show, that on your thought processes, as you're monitoring your thought traffic, your 80s lane, your 90s lane, you know, for those of us born in the 50s, your 50s lane, your 60s lane, your 70s lane, the intersections, the crossovers, the roundabouts, and on and on and on. If you consider that more is done in rest than in work, you can abruptly change your thought patterns, perhaps do a U-turn, a sharp right turn, sharp left turn in the thought patterns of your mindset, so that you'll be able to get a handle on certain things. I need some help. You need to be able to get a handle on the first thing that happens in the Atlanta area when the traffic has a traffic patterns have an accident is it begins to back up the traffic. And too many of us, including myself, we have thought pattern accidents. We have accidents on the highway of our thinking, and it backs us up to the degree that now we have a longer time period to get from A to B. And so today, on today's show, I got to encourage you that if you're able to rest, now rest comes in many forms: meditation, more sleep, catch up on your sleep. I need some help right there. You need to catch up on your sleep. Maybe we'll have a guest on our show that'll talk about sleep, because sleep is almost the key to rest. Sleep is a key to rest, because there's two different kinds of sleep. I don't want to get into it now. It's not just sleep is not just sleep. Sleep is a part of the rest factor or the rest formula. So my point to you is that as you monitor the thought traffic, as you recognize that there are going to be accidents along the journey of your thought processes, if you get that down in your spirit, what will happen is you will tap into the intangible, real-time step of interruptions of cross-associated thinking. Now back to the yogurt as my example. It took 30 years for me to stop associating sour milk with yogurt, though they are perhaps scientifically, nutritionally associated. But the association that I possessed was that I would not touch or enjoy or eat, whichever word you want to use, yogurt, because it, in my mind, pictures, thoughts, when the pattern is created, it has a combo. It has a combo. It has pictures. It connects to a memory, a date and time, perhaps, a person, an environment. We'll talk about that later. But for those of you that are out there taking notes for your journal, and if you're not taking notes, shame on you. When you show up at the Coach's Corner, you're always taking notes. But back to that yogurt. It took 30 years to break the cross-association for sour milk and yogurt, though they may factually be associated. But to be enjoyed, they have to be stirred. The ingredients have to be, I want to say, activated through the stir. And how many of us need to activate greater thinking through a stirring? I need some help. You need to tweet me right there. If you need to change something quicker, stop thinking about what you're thinking about and go get some rest. So let's get back to rest. Rest comes in many forms: meditation, sleep, relaxation. Do something different from what you're doing. That's all that means. R&R. Do something different. If you're always working, stop working, start playing. Play at something that you enjoy. Play at something you haven't done in a while. or if you're always working, you never go visit friends until a holiday, then break that cycle and start working and go see a friend before a holiday. You see, because the chemical reaction, the breaking of the energy flow and that thought processes and that cross association from monitoring subconsciously and consciously lanes from over the decades or over the years will be jolted. It will be the shock and awe effect. The shock and awe effect when you stop the work which you're doing consciously, go rest and allow your subconscious to heal. I need some help. That was bad to the bone. You need to tweet me right there on Twitter, SaletteUSAtv. You see what I'm saying? So today's key in this cross-associated thought pattern, we want to monitor our thought traffic. Now listen, a lot of people, including myself, we always want to hear, but we're piling a lot of new thought types on some bad, old, cross-associated thought patterns. I need some help. So I want you to begin to monitor on the monitors of your mind and heart. What are you thinking about? Why are you thinking about it that way? Why are you overthinking it when it has been presented simplistically? That's my weakness. Why are you confusing and making it more difficult than it really is? Why do people always say kindness kills? Because kindness is simple and kindness is easy. Not easy in the sense of doing it, choosing to do it, but it's easy to do, but it's hard to choose to do. I need some help. Kindness is easy to do as far as the physical activity to be able to smile and soften, but choosing to do is the hard part. So along this journey for change, along this journey for more for life, along this journey of self-development and improvement, I have to monitor my thought traffic first. I have to monitor the lanes. Some of them are 2-lane thought pattern, where they travel along 2 lanes. Some of them are 6. You got a wide, number of contributions in that thought lane. You got a wide number of positive input or a wide number of negative experiences in that lane. Whatever you want to make up in that scenario is fine. And you got some lanes that are reverse lanes, and I'm using traffic scenarios. You go one way in the daytime and you go another way in the nighttime. I'm using that for an example. You go one way Monday through Saturday, and then you go another way on Sunday. I need some help right there. So you want to monitor your thought traffic, but greater if you find, and you're going to, if you're honest, if you find thought processes or patterns that are aggravating to the places where you're trying to go and things that you're trying to accomplish, you want to begin to find avenues and opportunities to rest, because the mind wants to logically figure and computate and analyze the inputs and the outcomes to give you consciously some sort of solution. But sometimes it is not, most times it is not until we back completely off the associated thought pattern that we're traveling in our thoughts and our minds, and just abruptly through a shock and awe strategy rest. Because if we're able to do that, we may prevent a pollination of our possessive thought patterns that now interrupt the future. And by the time you arrive there, by the time you get there in life to that particular goal, that particular measurability factor, that particular accomplished objective, if you're not careful with the rest and the monitoring, you'll get to the future and find that your future has been pollinated with the past unmonitored. And we all do it. I want to bring you more examples, but I don't have as much time as you think. But keep following me right here on SIBN Television and Radio, the Coach's Corner. It's raw and rare for real. It's raw and rare for real. It is an in-depth look into ourselves. But my key today, as I reiterate, I want you to begin to consider rest as a part of your outcomes strategy. Let me repeat that. I want you to begin to consider rest as part of your outcomes strategy. Rest, meditation, turning off all the electronics, that's another way of rest. Enjoy a movie and then maybe take a nap. Make it a combo of rest so that you can tap into the subconscious part of yourself to birth or to regurgitate answers that have already been deposited in you. So you can separate the activities of current journeys. I need some help. And regurgitate memorial milestone moments that will allow you the freedom to maneuver through traffic jams in your thinking. If you're able to snatch up maybe 2 or 3 times a week, it could be a number of ways: meditation, taking naps, going for a walk and getting a yogurt or an ice cream. Maybe it's giving 3 hugs that day. Find them and give them 3 hugs. Maybe it's writing that letter. Maybe it's turning off all the electronics. But more is accomplished in rest than in work. And so I want to encourage you today, as we continue this series, as we continue sharing with you the things that will help us achieve personal goals and professional goals. Let's monitor our thought traffic, and let's begin to see if we can get on the pathway of interrupting those thoughts. And see, the rest does this for you. The rest allows you to remember. Too much cumbersome moments allow us to forget how powerful and intentions we were created. We have more, but we use less because we're always working and we rarely rest. Rest your mind. Rest your figuring. Rest your analytical thinking. Yes, be critical in your thoughts, be analytical, but there's a time when you stop. Divert your attention through shock and awe. Do something enjoyable, and hopefully you'll be able to create new energies full of power, full of stamina, and borrow that to go back into the change mode of your thought processes and make the difference. Have some new inputs and some new implants. Listen, I gotta go. Follow me right there on Twitter. Until next time, this is the Coach's Corner, raw and rare.